Dr. Hae-Yun Lee stood at the window of her office on the 50th floor of the Interstellar Defense Research Institute in Seoul. The morning sun reflected off the building's protective shields, creating rainbow patterns across the city. She held her coffee cup tightly as she watched the news broadcast on the wall screen. Breaking news. Alien spacecraft detected approaching Earth's solar system. Officials confirm peaceful communications received. The door slid open, and Security Chief Jae-ho Park rushed in. Dr. Lee, they're requesting to land. The Valerians want to establish diplomatic relations. Hae-Yun turned away from the window. Her office was filled with screens showing various defense systems status. Each screen displayed green indicators. Everything was working perfectly. Start first contact protocol level 3, she said calmly. Jae-ho looked worried. Level 3. But they've already sent peace messages. The government thinks level 1 would be enough. Hae-Yun walked to her desk and pressed a button. A holographic map of Earth appeared, showing all active defense systems. My grandmother used to say, "A locked door isn't rude, it's smart. Activate everything." Over the next 3 days, Earth's defense systems came fully online. Orbital shields hummed to life. Underground bunkers sealed their extra layers. Medical facilities doubled their supplies. Food storage facilities tripled their capacity. Every city activated its protective dome. The Valerian ship entered Earth's orbit on a sunny Thursday morning. Their vessel was beautiful. It looked like a silver leaf floating in space. Ambassador Krill's hologram appeared in the United Nations Assembly Hall, where Hae-Yun and other leaders had gathered. The alien was tall and elegant, with shimmering blue skin and gentle eyes. "People of Earth," Krill said, smiling, "we come in peace and friendship." His eyes moved around the room, noting the visible security measures. "Though I must say, your protective measures seem excessive." Hae-Yun stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth, Ambassador Krill. I am Dr. Lee, Director of Human Protection Protocols." "Ah, yes." Krill's smile widened. "We've observed your many layers of defense. Quite impressive, though perhaps unnecessary between friends. Our scans show at least 15 different types of shields around this building alone." 23. Actually, Hae-Yun corrected politely. "The other 8 are not visible to standard scans." Krill's smile faltered slightly. 23. For a diplomatic meeting. "Would you like to know about the other safety measures?" Hae-Yun asked, maintaining her professional tone. "There are more." Krill looked genuinely surprised. "Of course, what you can see is only the beginning. We believe in being thorough." The other human leaders in the room watched this exchange with interest. Some had initially questioned Hae-Yun's insistence on such extensive protections. Now they watched as the alien ambassador tried to hide his confusion. "In my experience," Krill said carefully, "such extensive defensive measures often suggest fear or hostility." Hae-Yun smiled. "On Earth, we have a saying, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. It's not about fear, Ambassador. It's about wisdom." As the meeting continued, Hae-Yun noticed how Krill's eyes kept moving to the various security systems visible in the room. He was trying to understand them, trying to figure out their capabilities. She had seen that look before, in the eyes of people who underestimated the importance of being prepared. In her earpiece, Jae-ho's voice whispered, "Should we show them the sanctuary protocol details?" "No," Hae-Yun whispered back. "Some preparations are best kept private. For now, let them think this is all we have." As she watched Krill interact with the other leaders, Hae-Yun thought about all the hidden systems, all the backup plans, all the protocols that no one but a few trusted individuals knew about. The Valerians thought Earth was being excessive. They had no idea that what they could see was just the surface. This was just the beginning, and Hae-Yun knew that every single protection would prove necessary. It wasn't paranoia, if you were right. Security Chief Jae-ho Park sat in his dimly lit office at 3 in the morning, staring at streams of data flowing across his screens. Something wasn't right. The Valerians had been on Earth for 2 weeks now, and their behavior followed an odd pattern. He pulled up another video feed showing Ambassador Krill touring a civilian defense facility. The alien's questions seemed innocent enough, but Jeho had been watching security footage for 20 years. He knew when someone was mapping out weaknesses. "Computer, show me all Valerian communication patterns from the past week," he ordered. The main screen filled with colorful lines showing message traffic between the alien embassy and their ship. The door opened, and Do-Yeon Kim walked in carrying 2 cups of hot tea. "You're still here, sir. Dr. Lee asked me to check on you." Jeho accepted the tea gratefully. "Look at this," he pointed to the screen. "Every time we show them a defense system, they send a burst of data to their ship. Then, exactly 6 hours later, they asked to see a different part of our defenses." Do-Yeon set down her cup and leaned closer to the screen. "Maybe they're just curious." Curious people ask random questions. These requests follow a pattern. Jeho pulled up another screen. "They're systematically testing each layer of our security. Watch this." He played a recording from yesterday's diplomatic meeting. Ambassador Krill was speaking with Earth's leaders about cultural exchange programs. "Your defensive measures are quite impressive," the alien said smoothly. "Though perhaps we could help you make them more efficient." Do-Yeon's eyes widened. "They're offering to help us change our defense systems." "Yes, and look what happens when we refuse." Jeho showed another data stream. "Their ship moves to a different orbit each time, always positioning itself near our supposedly hidden defense satellites." The doors slid open again, and Dr. Hae-Yun Lee walked in. She looked at the screens, then at Jeho's worried face. "You found something?" Jeho nodded. "They're probing us, Dr. Lee. Every friendly gesture is followed by an attempt to access our systems. Every tour ends with them mapping another defense layer. They're being very careful, very patient, but the pattern is there." Hae-Yun walked to the window, looking up at the night sky where the Valerian ship glinted like a distant star. "Have they found anything about the Sanctuary Protocol?" "No," Jeho replied. "That's still completely hidden. They don't even know it exists." "Good." Hae-Yun turned back to her colleagues. "Keep watching them. Don't change anything yet. Let them think their careful exploration is working." Do-Yeon looked nervous. "But if they're really planning something, then we'll be ready," Hae-Yun said firmly. "Remember, what they can see is not what we have. Every system they're mapping is one we can afford to show them." Jeho pulled up one final screen. "There's something else. I've been analyzing their ship's energy readings. They're using 10 times more power than they need for diplomatic missions. Whatever they're doing up there, it's not just sending messages home." Hae-Yun smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. "Interesting. They think we're being excessive with our defenses, yet they bring enough power to run a small war fleet. Should we confront them?" Do-Yeon asked. "No," Hae-Yun replied. "Let them think we're naive. Let them think all our excessive protection means we're paranoid and inexperienced." She walked to the door, then paused. "But activate the secondary protocols. All of them." After she left, Jeho and Do-Yeon shared a knowing look. The Valerians thought humans were being paranoid with their protections. They were about to learn why humans had developed such thorough defense systems in the first place. In orbit, the Valerian ship continued its slow dance around Earth, its crew unaware that every move they made was revealing more about their true intentions. The humans watched, waited, and quietly prepared for what they knew was coming. Research assistant Do-Yeon Kim stared at her screen in horror. After 3 weeks of digging through deep space transmissions, she had finally decoded part of the Valerian ship's secret messages. What she found made her hands shake. The door to her small office opened, and Dr. Hae-Yun Lee walked in. "You said it was urgent." Do-Yeon pointed at her screen. "Look at these records. I found them hidden in old transmissions from other star systems." She pulled up images of different planets. These are all the worlds the Valerians visited in the past 50 years. Hei-Yun looked closer. The images showed beautiful, peaceful worlds. They look fine to me. Now look at the same planets 1 year later. Du-Yun's fingers moved across her keyboard. The new images made Hei-Yun step back. Where there had been cities, there were now ruins. Where there had been oceans, there were now empty basins. Where there had been life, there was now nothing. Every single planet, Du-Yun said quietly. They did this to every planet they visited. Always the same pattern. First comes the friendly contact. Then they offer to help improve the planet's defenses. Then they strike. Hei-Yun finished. She pressed a button on her wrist computer. Security Chief Park, please come to Du-Yun's office immediately. While they waited, Du-Yun showed more evidence. The Valerians have done this 17 times. They make peace, gain trust, learn about all the defenses, and then take everything. No planet has ever stopped them. Jai-Ho arrived 5 minutes later. After seeing the evidence, his face turned grim. This matches the patterns I found. They're following the same steps here. Yesterday, they asked to inspect our main defense control center. Did we let them? Du-Yun asked nervously. Hei-Yun smiled. We let them see what we wanted them to see. The real control center is somewhere else entirely. An alert flashed on Du-Yun's screen. Their ship is moving again. They're positioning themselves above our largest cities, one at a time, just like they did with the other planets before they attacked. How long do the other planets usually last? Jai-Ho asked. None of them survived more than 6 hours after the attack began, Du-Yun replied sadly. The Valerians disable their defenses first, then strike all major cities at once. No one ever has time to fight back. Hei-Yun walked to the window, looking up at the sky. 6 hours. They think that's enough time to destroy a planet. She turned back to her colleagues. How long have humans been preparing for war? Thousands of years, Jai-Ho answered. And how long have we been preparing for this exact moment? Since the first radio signal reached Earth from space, Du-Yun said, understanding in her eyes. Hei-Yun nodded. Exactly. While they were conquering those 17 worlds, we were watching, learning, preparing. She pressed another button on her wrist computer. Activate the Sanctuary Protocol. Full deployment. Deep under the Earth's surface, massive machines began to power up. In hidden bases around the world, special weapons came online. In orbit, satellites that the Valerians had never detected began to move into position. What do we do now? Du-Yun asked. Now. Hei-Yun's face was calm but determined. Now we wait. Let them think their plan is working. Let them think we're just another peaceful world that doesn't know how to properly defend itself. And when they attack? Jai-Ho asked. Then they'll learn why humans are different, why we build so many layers of defense, why we prepare for the worst even in times of peace. Hei-Yun looked at the images of destroyed worlds on Du-Yun's screen. They think we're excessive. They're about to learn why. The attack began at dawn. The Valerian ship split into 17 smaller vessels, each positioning itself above a major city. Ambassador Krill's face appeared on screens worldwide, his gentle smile replaced by cold determination. People of Earth, he announced, your world now belongs to the Valerian Empire. Disable your defenses and surrender. You have 1 hour to comply. In the Interstellar Defense Command Center, deep beneath the mountains, Dr. Hei-Yun Lee watched the transmission without surprise. Right on schedule, she said quietly. Status report. Security Chief Jai-Ho Park's fingers moved across his control panel. They're trying to access our defense networks, exactly as they did on the other worlds. Are they succeeding? Hei-Yun asked, though she already knew the answer. No, they're still trying to hack the decoy systems we showed them. The real networks remain untouched. Do-Yeon Kim rushed into the command center with new data. The Valerian ships are charging their main weapons. Energy readings are off the charts. Above the cities, the Valerian ships began to glow with building power. They had used these same weapons to destroy 17 other civilizations. Each ship could generate enough energy to level a continent. Ambassador Krill's voice came through again. Your excessive defensive measures were impressive, but ultimately useless. We have mapped every system, found every weakness. Surrender now, or face extinction. Hei-Yun picked up her communication device. This is Dr. Lee to all Earth defense stations. Sanctuary Protocol Phase 1. Activate. The Valerians fired their weapons. 17 beams of devastating energy shot toward Earth's major cities. For a moment, the sky turned white with power. Then nothing happened. The energy beams disappeared 50 kilometers above the surface, absorbed by shields that hadn't been there seconds before. The Valerian ships fired again and again. Each time, their attacks vanished into invisible barriers. In orbit, Ambassador Krill's ship received urgent messages from his attack fleet. None of their scans could detect these new shields. None of their weapons could penetrate them. Impossible, Krill muttered. We mapped all their defenses. We found all their systems. No, Ambassador. Hei-Yun's voice came through his ship's speakers. You found what we wanted you to find. Did you really think those obvious defenses were all we had? The Valerian ships tried to retreat, but discovered they couldn't move. Hidden gravity generators, completely undetectable until activated, held them firmly in place. You see, Ambassador, Hei-Yun continued, humans have been preparing for this moment for generations. Every time we detected signals from space, we added new defenses. Every time we imagined a possible threat, we created countermeasures. What you saw, what you mapped, was just the surface. Krill watched in growing horror as new defense platforms emerged from Earth's oceans, rising on massive pillars of water. More platforms descended from camouflaged positions in the upper atmosphere. Earth's true defense grid was revealing itself, layer by layer. Your species calls this excessive, Hei-Yun said calmly. We call it being thorough. You had your chance for real peace. You chose betrayal instead. Now let us show you why humans believe in preparing for the worst. The Earth's hidden defense systems powered up, their energy readings dwarfing anything the Valerian ships could produce. In his ship, Ambassador Krill finally understood. His species had conquered 17 worlds by exploiting their trust and overcoming their defenses. But they had never encountered a species that made preparation an art form. They had never faced a civilization that planned for betrayal even while hoping for peace. They had never met humans before. Defense Coordinator Taesung Choi stood at his command station, directing Earth's response with practiced efficiency. On the main screen, the 17 trapped Valerian vessels hung motionless above Earth's cities, caught in humanity's gravity nets. All defense stations report ready, he announced to Dr. Hei-Yun Lee and the others in the command center. Sanctuary Protocol Phase 2 is prepared for activation. Hei-Yun nodded. Show them our first layer, Coordinator Choi. Taesung pressed his hand against the control panel. Across Earth's surface, thousands of hidden defense platforms emerged from their concealment. Some rose from the oceans on massive steel pillars. Others descended from high-altitude holding positions. Many simply appeared as their cloaking systems deactivated. In his trapped ship, Ambassador Krill watched with growing concern. Impossible, he whispered. Our scans showed nothing like this. Of course they didn't. Hei-Yun's voice came through clearly on his ship's communications. These systems were designed to be invisible until needed. Would you like to see the second layer, Ambassador? Without waiting for his response, she nodded to Taesung. He activated another set of controls. The space around Earth shimmered as energy shields far more advanced than anything the Valerians had detected came online. These weren't the simple barriers they had mapped during their preparation. These were the real defenses. Security Chief Jae-Ho Park monitored the Valerian ship's reactions. They're trying to break free of the gravity nets, he reported. They're using their maximum power. Let them try. Tai-sung said calmly. Those nets were designed to hold ships 10 times their size. The Valerian vessels fired their engines at full power, their hulls glowing with the effort. The gravity nets didn't even flicker. Instead, each attempt to escape caused the nets to tighten, drawing the ships slightly closer to Earth's surface. Do-yeon Kim monitored the incoming data from her station. Their weapons are charging again, she announced. Energy readings are at maximum. Predictable, Hae-yeon said. Coordinator Choi, show them why we call this the Sanctuary Protocol. Tai-sung activated the third layer of defenses. Around each Valerian ship, rings of energy formed in the air. These rings began to spin, creating fields that the aliens had never encountered before. The Valerians fired their weapons. This time, their energy beams didn't just disappear. The spinning rings caught the attacks and redirected them, sending the energy harmlessly into space. You see, Ambassador, Hae-yeon explained, humans learned long ago that the best defense isn't just about blocking attacks. It's about using the enemy's strength against them. Krill's voice came through, showing stress for the first time. How many layers of defense do you have? More than you'll ever see, she replied. Each one designed to counter a different type of attack. Each one hidden until needed. Each one tested and improved over generations. The Valerian ships tried a synchronized attack, all 17 vessels firing at once. The defense rings spun faster, gathering the energy and dispersing it safely away from Earth. The aliens' most powerful weapons have been rendered useless. Final warning, Ambassador, Hae-yeon announced. Your weapons cannot harm us. Your ships cannot escape. You have two choices: surrender or witness why we developed these defenses in the first place. In the command center, Tai-sung's fingers hovered over the controls for the fourth layer of defenses. These weren't just protective measures. These were the systems designed to respond to threats. The Valerians had come expecting to find a vulnerable planet hiding behind obvious shields. Instead, they found themselves trapped by a civilization that had spent centuries preparing for this exact moment. Fleet Commander Sun Hae-kang watched from the bridge of the Earth Defense Vessel Protector as her fleet emerged from their hidden docks within the moon. The massive ships had remained concealed throughout the Valerian diplomatic mission, waiting for this moment. Earth Defense Fleet reports all systems operational, her second-in-command reported. Weapon systems are ready. Shields at maximum power. Sun-hai straightened her uniform and opened a channel to the command center on Earth. Dr. Lee, the fleet awaits your orders. In the command center, Hae-yeon looked at the tactical display, showing the trapped Valerian vessels. Begin the counter-offensive, Commander Kang. Show them why we believe in being prepared. The Earth Defense Fleet moved into position with practiced precision. Each ship was larger than the Valerian vessels, their hulls gleaming with advanced armor that had never been revealed to the aliens. Ambassador Krill's voice came through the communication system, showing clear surprise. You had a fleet, hidden behind your moon. How did we not detect them? The same way you didn't detect our other defenses, Sun Hae responded calmly. We designed them to be invisible until needed. Your scans showed you what we wanted you to see. The Earth fleet surrounded the trapped Valerian ships, their weapon systems powering up. These weren't simple defense platforms. These were ships built to protect Earth from any threat, no matter how powerful. Your weapons are designed to destroy planets, Sun Hae continued. Ours are designed to protect them. Let us demonstrate the difference. She gave the signal, and her fleet activated their primary systems. Energy fields extended from each Earth vessel, connecting them in a complex network. The trapped Valerian ships found themselves inside a containment grid far more sophisticated than anything they had encountered before. Impossible, Krill protested. No species we've encountered has technology this advanced. We studied your civilization. You showed us your defense systems. No, Ambassador, Sun Hae replied. We showed you our first line of defense. The obvious measures, the ones we could afford to reveal. Everything else remained hidden, waiting for this moment. The Earth fleet began its demonstration. Each ship activated specialized systems designed to counter specific threats. Some generated fields that neutralized the Valerians' weapons completely. Others projected shields that could absorb and redirect energy attacks. Security Chief HFY Park's voice came through from the command center. "Commander Kang, their ships are attempting to send emergency signals to their homeworld." "Let them," Sun Hai said confidently. "Let them report what they found here. Let their empire know that Earth is not like the other worlds they've conquered." The containment grid tightened, drawing the Valerian vessels into a closer formation. Their attempts to break free had grown increasingly desperate, but each effort was met with calm, calculated responses from the Earth fleet. "This is your final opportunity, Ambassador," Sun Hai announced. "Surrender your vessels, or we will demonstrate our offensive capabilities. I don't believe you want to see those." In the command center, He-Yun watched the tactical display with satisfaction. The Valerians had come expecting to find another vulnerable civilization hiding behind primitive defenses. Instead, they found themselves facing a species that had spent centuries preparing for exactly this kind of threat. The Earth fleet held position, their advanced systems humming with power. They represented generations of human innovation, all focused on one goal: ensuring that no hostile force could ever threaten their world. The Valerians were about to learn why humans took protection so seriously. Ambassador Krill stood in a secure meeting room deep within the Interstellar Defense Command Center. Through the reinforced windows, he could see his captured ships held safely in Earth's containment fields. The once proud Valerian fleet now seemed small compared to Earth's defensive forces. Dr. He-Yun Lee sat across from him, reviewing reports on her display screen. "Your empire has conquered 17 worlds," she said calmly. "Each time, you followed the same pattern. Make peace, study defenses, then strike. It worked perfectly until now." "Because no other species prepared like you did," Krill admitted. "No other world hid so much power. We thought your visible defenses were excessive. Now we understand they were just the beginning." Security Chief HFY Park entered the room with new data. "The Valerian Empire has received the full report of their fleet's capture. They're not sending reinforcements. It seems they don't want to risk losing more ships." He-Yun nodded and turned back to Krill. "Do you know why humans build such thorough defenses, Ambassador? Why we prepare for the worst even in times of peace?" "Because you don't trust others," Krill suggested. "No," He-Yun replied. "Because we understand ourselves. Throughout human history, we've seen what happens when people aren't prepared. We've learned from every conflict, every disaster, every close call. What you call overkill, we call wisdom." Fleet Commander Sun He-Kang's voice came through the communication system. "The Earth Defense Fleet has completed its sweep of the solar system. No additional Valerian vessels detected. All protective measures remain active." He-Yun gestured to the screens showing Earth's unveiled defense systems. "Each layer of protection represents a lesson learned. Each hidden weapon shows an understanding of how peace can turn to conflict in moments. We didn't build all this because we're paranoid. We built it because we're realistic." Krill walked to the window, watching Earth's defense platforms glowing in the sunlight. "Your species spent centuries preparing for an attack that might never come. The resources, the effort, the planning involved is nothing compared to the cost of being unprepared," He-Yun finished. "You saw our obvious defenses and thought we were showing off. You didn't understand that they were warnings, not boasts. Signs that we take protection seriously." Do-Yeon Kim entered with more reports. The other 17 worlds the Valerians conquered. Most of them had minimal defenses. They trusted in peace completely. "And now they're gone," He-Yun said softly. "Because they weren't ready for betrayal. They didn't understand that hope for peace must be balanced with preparation for conflict." Krill turned from the window. "What happens now?" "Now," He-Yun stood up. "Now your empire learns why attacking Earth was a mistake. Not because we're aggressive, but because we're thorough. Not because we're hostile, but because we're prepared. The defensive measures you've seen are just a small part of our capabilities. Outside, the Earth Defense Fleet moved into new positions, their formations perfect, their power obvious. The Valerian ships seemed to shrink further in their containment fields. "Remember this moment, Ambassador," He-Yun said. "Remember why humans believe in multiple layers of protection. Remember why we prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. Your empire thought our defenses were excessive. Now you understand. They were exactly what they needed to be." The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council gleamed under its crystal dome. Representatives from 200 species filled the circular chamber, all eyes focused on the human delegation standing at the center. Dr. He-Yun Lee stepped forward to address the assembly. 3 months have passed since the Valerian Empire attempted to conquer Earth, she began. Today, we are here to share what we have learned from this encounter. The council members murmured among themselves. Many had seen the detailed reports of Earth's defense systems. Some had watched recordings of how the human fleet had captured the Valerian ships without firing a single destructive shot. The Valerian Empire has withdrawn from the 17 worlds they conquered. He-Yun continued. Earth's demonstration of defensive capability has convinced them to reconsider their expansion policies. Ambassador Krill, now representing a much humbler Valerian Empire, stood to speak. "We mistook thorough preparation for weakness. We saw complex defenses and thought they showed fear. We were wrong." Security Chief Jae-ho Park displayed holographic images of Earth's defense systems. The council members watched in fascination as layer after layer of protection appeared, each more sophisticated than the last. "Humanity does not build defenses because we fear war," He-Yun explained. "We build them because we understand reality. Peace is precious precisely because it can be lost. Protection is valuable precisely because it prevents conflict." Fleet Commander Sun Haikang stepped forward. "The Earth Defense Fleet stands ready to help protect other worlds. We offer our knowledge and expertise to any civilization that wishes to safeguard its people." The council chamber erupted in discussion. Species that had feared Valerian expansion now saw hope. Civilizations that had hidden from conflict now saw a path to security. "Earth's protection protocols are not excessive," He-Yun said firmly. "They are necessary. Not because we expect every species to become our enemy, but because we understand that peace must be guarded." Do-Yeon Kim presented data showing how Earth's defensive strategy had prevented not just conquest, but the loss of life. Our preparations didn't just save Earth. They saved the Valerian crews as well. True defense protects everyone. The Council voted unanimously to establish the Galactic Defense Initiative, with Earth taking a leading role. Human engineers would help other worlds develop their own protection systems. Human strategists would share their understanding of defensive planning. As the session concluded, Ambassador Krill approached He-Yun. "You've changed how the galaxy thinks about defense," he said quietly. "We called it overkill. Now we understand it was wisdom." He-Yun looked out at the stars visible through the crystal dome. Somewhere out there, 17 worlds were beginning to rebuild, their people finally free from Valerian control. Earth's demonstration of protective strength had achieved more than victory. It had created peace. "The best defense isn't the one that wins wars," she replied. "It's the one that prevents them." Humanity learned this lesson through centuries of history. Now the galaxy has learned it too. As the human delegation prepared to return to Earth, they could see changes already beginning. Ships from different species worked together to establish new defensive networks. Former rivals cooperated to protect each other's worlds. The age of easy conquest was over. Humanity's dedication to protection had not just saved Earth, it had shown the galaxy a better way forward. What some had called excessive had proven to be exactly what was needed. The future would be built not on trust alone, but on the wisdom of being prepared.